It's Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Now, here are your hosts, Corey and Mason.
Hello and welcome to Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Mason Schmidt. Here with my best bud, Corey Knudsen.
Ew.
As we get ready to crack some cold ones and talk movies. Today we'll be discussing what films we've seen lately, mostly focusing on those newer releases. We had Jurassic World Rebirth this past week, so a lot to unpack there. We'll also look into what new movies are coming up on the horizon. We got Superman this week. Also providing some updates regarding physical media, as well as the notable developments in the world of movies. But first, Corey, happy belated 4th of July, as well as I'm sure you were working this past weekend, but what are we drinking today, and how is your holiday 4th?
We are drinking Local 755 IPA from Black Stack Brewing in St. Paul. We had the Pull Tabs one a few times ago, which was really good. This is also very good. I like it a lot. Yeah. But yeah, happy 4th to you too. Happy 4th to everybody else.
All those who observe the 4th of July.
Yeah, hope you had a good time, drinking some beers, crushing some dogs. I watched Joey Chestnut in the morning before work.
We did talk about that a lot, yeah.
70 and a half hot dogs
disgusting.
in 10 minutes, which isn't even his record. It's like 76.
Yeah, that's...
So I set my alarm, got up early, watched that.
I hate at the end of his competitions when he's just like drinking water and then just shaking his tummy of just dogs and buns. Just wet dog and bun. I'm like... Ugh.
The dipping the buns into the hot dogs obviously is like the strategy, but just seeing them eat that and then there's just like remnants of the dogs
wet
and
bun going on their cheek, yeah.
It's incredible, but 17 titles. Yeah. That's insane. You can't deny it. Like, he's the GOAT. Like, Tom Brady, MJ, Wayne Gretzky, nah. All them combined, I think, have 17 titles. He's got 17 by himself. Which is great. So I love doing that. That's how I spent my 4th of July.
It's weird talking about a hot dog eating contest and considering that like athleticism, because like, damn, I could have done shit if I continued to be a fat kid, like just into my adulthood. I could have put down like pie, like shit, I would have torn up like blueberry pie eating contests. Hot dog, that fucking, the bun and water, like wet bread, the idea of that makes me feel physically ill. Like, and just trying to eat like a spongy... So I wonder if like the crooked, like his two front teeth are a little fucked up. I wonder if that's like an advantage. Maybe he's got something.
Could
there.
be.
He's just cooking. But
we were talking at work about how many we could realistically eat in 10 minutes, and I said I could do like 7 or 8.
That's not bad.
With like that method, I'm like, that's less than a dog.
With that method?
With like dunking it in the water, like doing that, not just like me eating hot dogs normally.
I think I can get one a minute.
Like in a contest, I think I could do like over a minute for a dog and like get 7 or 8.
I think I could get maybe close to like 9 or 10. I think I could be close to like... I know like once I get 5, I'm going to be throwing up. So like it's probably not going to get me to 10.
Yeah.
But I like the idea of it. I'm like, I feel like 1 dog per minute. Like that ain't bad.
Yeah.
But is it a 10-minute contest that they do? And he had fucking
70 and a half.
He's having one every like 8 seconds. That's disgusting.
He's doing 2 at a time. He's got this.
Oh, like the best of them.
He's like the best of them.
He's like the best of them. 2 at a time. Oh my god.
True American hero. Really gets my patriotic flag flying, you know. It's a great way to start the 4th.
I was also talking with my wife about it. I feel like I'm not a big fireworks person. I know you probably aren't either, just based on what I know about you with like Christmas lights. You hate Christmas lights. I'm not like, it's just, you've seen Christmas lights once before, you've seen it all you need to. Like, same with fireworks. You've seen one, you've seen them all. You don't need to see fireworks. So this entire 4th of July, I'm like, we're adults. We can just drink, have fun on the water. Like, 4th of July is fun again. Like, as a kid, it's mostly like, oh, let's get together, go to the park, watch the fireworks. But, like, as a kid, I was like, this is the same shit every time. Yeah. And I don't care. Like, they're very loud. They're, like, going on. Like, I don't give a shit. So this year, I missed out on fireworks entirely, except for actually late last night. Back in Minneapolis after being up north, it's fucking like 1 a.m. and this apartment building down the street from mine is just lighting off fireworks, and I can just see it through my bedroom window. I'm like, it's fucking 1 o'clock Monday morning. Like, 4th of July is done. And I hate fireworks. 4th of July is the one day, not the weekend, the day I will be understanding of fireworks. If you're on either end of that, you are just pissing me off. So... got my firework fill at 1 a.m. on a Monday morning. I was so pissed.
I got back from work on Friday nights, and the Mexican family next door at their house just blaring mariachi music and fireworks going for 45 minutes straight.
That's awesome. That's awesome. There's a house near... me and Corey both used to live in this building. This is a lot of like build-up before we even talk about movies. But they would always have like parties on like the weekends and shit. And it's the same family that's been there for the past like 5 years or whatever. But people getting into the 4th of July, on the 4th of July, I'm all for. It's just fireworks extending on either side. I'm like, shut the fuck. Like, it's such an inconvenience to me. And it's so fucking loud. I hate it. If you had fireworks and you had a good 4th of July, great. Just keep your fireworks to yourself. I don't need them. And I've lived another year without someone near me blowing off their own hands to fireworks, so fantastic on that part. I'm sure you guys probably had a number of stories about fireworks exploding at work, but
every year.
Yeah, it is the common thing. But fuck it, we'll talk about movies finally. It was Jurassic World Rebirth this past week. That was the big kind of blockbuster. We are kicking off July. We have a big month ahead of us. I sat down and watched through a lot of the Jurassic Park franchise. I did my best Corey rendition or Corey impression and watched through the majority of this franchise, at least the ones that I haven't really seen before. I started with Jurassic World, watched that over this past weekend because I really enjoy that movie. I think it's a really fun movie. I'm not going to go too in-depth with a lot of these. They're movies that have been out for a long time, so a lot of my critiques, a lot of my negatives, a lot of my positives are stuff that other people who are smarter than me have also said well before me. But talking about Jurassic World, I really do enjoy that movie. I think it's a decent enough kind of legacy sequel. It's basically The Force Awakens, but of the Jurassic World franchise. Also came out the same year as The Force Awakens. So, but I think it does enough to kind of reestablish itself within this world. Further kind of saying like, okay, how can we get dinosaurs and a gigantic stupid theme park based around dinosaurs? How can we make that credible within this world after the Jurassic Park, the original park, how that just went fucking upended and just shit hit the fan. So I think that this movie does a good enough job at establishing itself. There's some subplots that I don't love. This franchise has to continuously kind of find ways to make itself still relevant, make itself continue to happen, and the military subplot. I know a lot of people don't love it. I just like that it kind of makes sense for this movie and kind of makes this movie make sense in terms of the world it's in. The cast is great. You got Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, Ty Simpkins, Judy Greer, Vincent D'Onofrio, Nick Robinson. Jake Johnson is weirdly in this movie. I completely forgot about that until I was rewatching it this past weekend. But the effects in this film are fantastic. I think it's a big, fun time at the movies. The cast is largely great. There are some like nitpicky critiques that I could put, like how is Bryce Dallas Howard's character Claire running through this entire movie in heels and outpacing a T-Rex? Like, that's a complaint I could kind of field against most of the movies in this franchise, aside from the first one of like, all these characters are outpacing massive dinosaurs. Whatever, it's fine. Jurassic World I really like, but I also, one of the quintessential Jurassic Park films is that third one, and I know a lot of people kind of have negative responses to that, and a lot of people don't love it. It's a really short movie, weirdly enough, but I'd never seen it. And last week I went back and watched Lost World, and I really dug that movie, and I was like, all right, I should watch Jurassic Park 3. It's not great. It's not really good, but there are some really cool, good moments in it. Corey, I know you've seen all of this franchise. There's still some that I haven't seen that I'm going to try and watch the rest of this week. What's your kind of take on Jurassic World, but also Jurassic Park 3 before I kind of get into it as someone who's new to that movie?
Yeah, I grew up with the original 3 movies, so I watched Jurassic Park 3 a lot, and the Alan.
Still stupid.
Oh, it's...
And I'm going to defend the movie a little bit, but it's so dumb.
I love it. It's hilarious and dumb. But yeah, I enjoy that movie enough. I think it has some fun sequences in like the pterodactyl cage. And there's some cool stuff in there.
Some dumb fucking lines in that movie, though.
Oh yeah, it's
in that scene specifically, Sam Neill, who plays Dr. Grant, in the cage with Tia Leone, who is the worst character in the entire Jurassic World franchise. Not that she's a bad performer, she's a great actress, and in the movie she's serviceable and like pretty good. Like, it's not her fault. One of the most horribly written anythings in this entire franchise. But they're in that cage, and Dr. Grant's like, it's like a bird cage. And Tia Leone is like, for what? And I'm like, what fucking dinosaur has wings? A fucking pterodactyl, okay? Like, what are you doing? What do you mean, for what? A fucking pterodactyl. One of the dinosaurs that can fly. For what? I was so blown away. There's just so many stupid interchanges with specifically her character, which is a shame because it's not Tia Leone's fault, but that character is a rough time. So stupid.
Absolutely. The writing, not good in that movie.
Really
but
fails that movie.
I think the Spinosaurus and all that stuff is kind of fun. There's some good sequences in there that I enjoy.
Yeah.
Certainly my least favorite of the original 3. And then Jurassic World. I remember seeing that in theaters in 2015. And that was the year that I really started going to the theater a lot. And I remember going with my mom to see it in like peak summer, like seemingly everybody saw this movie, so it was fun to talk about.
Massive at the box office.
Yeah, it was huge, and it was just a nice return to form a bit after, even like Lost World kind of did a few different things in there to get back to like a park and dinosaurs on the park. So I enjoy that movie. I think Chris Pratt is actually pretty fun as the lead in the movie, and good supporting cast like you mentioned. And this is the one time where like making a different type of dinosaur, the Indorex, I think it's called, is Indominus Rex.
Indominus Rex.
They
have stupid names, and they get stupider as the franchise goes on of what they kind of mutate into, but whatever.
Yeah, and I think it was a raptor and a T-Rex, which that makes sense to me, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of fun. I can see that. We get into some of the sequels and the like mutating and cloning and all this other stuff. I'm like, we don't need to do that too much. But in that movie, I think it was fun to add like a new threat in there. But I know you watched Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom for the first time.
I did. Going into Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I've heard all the negatives. I've heard that it's basically a tale of two halves. Like, the first half is, like, fine. Some people don't like it, but the back end of that movie is rough. And I had that to kind of go into the movie knowing, like, what to expect roughly. I knew some pretty basic story beats as well as, like, some of the big reveals towards the very end of the movie. Going into it, obviously it's directed by J.A. Bayona, and like there's some good directors attached to this franchise. Joe Johnston doing Jurassic Park 3, and he did fucking Rocketeer and First Avenger, and I love those movies, but that movie doesn't fully work for me. But in Fallen Kingdom, you got J.A. Bayona, who's done amazing genre work. I still haven't seen Society of the Snow, and I know you really like that.
Really
movie.
Good, yeah.
But I really appreciated Monster Calls, and The Orphanage is really good. This one brings back a lot of that returning cast from the first Jurassic World movie, but wow, does it go off the rails. And kind of something that continues to be an issue with me throughout this franchise is at least within the Jurassic World films specifically, is that they further get away from them just being dinosaurs. And like us being wowed by the fact that this once extinct creature is now back in modern day. And there's no more like that charm of like it being a dinosaur. Now it's just how much can we mutate these things? How much can we get them to look, act, and behave like monsters? And once it turns into a monster movie, which Fallen Kingdom does in the latter half, it is a full-fledged monster movie in a mansion, and we're selling these dinosaur monster hybrids to the highest bidder, who's only bidding $10 million for a fucking raptor. And I'm like, fucking high-class art's going for well over that. This is a living, breathing fucking dinosaur that's going for 10 mil? Like, bullshit. So, not only, and that's like kind of nitpicky, but the scale of what they're willing to sell these things for is crazy to me. I actually really enjoyed the first half of this movie. You get a little kind of bookend with an Ian Malcolm scene of him in front of this jury kind of saying, like, because this volcano is going to erupt. It's going to take out this entire island of dinosaurs, and they're sitting there, and Ian Malcolm, Jeff Goldblum's like, we fucked up by making these things living creatures again. We should just let them die. This is a corrective measure. Let them die and go extinct again. We shouldn't have them in modern day. Which, if you're a fan of this franchise, I think most people going back to the first Jurassic Park would typically agree with Ian Malcolm of like, yeah, let them fucking die. We fucked up. They shouldn't be around. But then Owen Grady, Chris Pratt's character, and Bryce Dallas Howard's character, they are like, no, these animals should have rights. And it's like, it goes against what we are already agreeing with. So to me, it's like at war. The movie's at war with itself of like different ideologies of like, what should we do with these dinosaurs? In that first half, you have this massive plot hole of like, I think that this is taking place on Isla Nublar. There's another island called Isla Sorna. It's like, there's never a conversation brought up of like, what if we just transport the dinosaurs from the volcanic island to the other island and they'll be fine. It's either let them go extinct or basically bring them to mainland. And it's like, you guys are missing something. Like, we could just fucking shove them over here and they'll be fine and leave them be. Anyways, that plot hole aside, I did kind of get won over by the first half of this movie. They go to that island, they're trying to do different experiments and understand the dinosaurs and figure out what they can do to try and save them. And then volcanic shit goes awry and you get a lot of kind of really dour, bittersweet, sad scenes of dinosaurs dying, which for me kind of worked in help win me over to Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard's side of seeing why they think these animals deserve rights and being able to live and not go extinct. And it's like, oh, it is sad watching these dinosaurs die. that being said, beginning half, they get the dinosaurs off the island. That chunk of the movie ends. Then it's full-fledged stupidity for an hour and like 10 minutes of them bringing these dinosaurs to this mansion, them auctioning them off, a bunch of weird cloning shit, mutated shit, and it's just a monster movie disguised as Jurassic Park, Jurassic World. And I hate it when they do that because, like I said, it completely gets rid of the charm of dinosaurs in the real life. Nah, we're just sciencing the fuck out of this. B.D. Wong's back, and he's just making weird mutated shit. So Fallen Kingdom, like, it is a tale of two halves. I actually really did dig the first half of this movie. It just kind of goes off the rails pretty quickly once they get to that second location, the second half of the movie at this mansion, which what I'm saying isn't new. A lot of people have the same gripes as me. I'm sure that you kind of sympathize or agree with how wildly stupid the latter half of this movie is.
Yeah, there's still some enjoyable stuff in here. I don't hate it like some people do. I kind of have a soft spot for this franchise, so anytime seeing good dinosaur action, like I'm kind of a sucker for it. And like you said, I think that first half is fine enough. I really like the opening scene with the mosasaur, and they're like down there and like the sub or whatever it is. Yeah. I really just the mosasaur in general, I think is cool and underwater. I don't even know if it's a dinosaur technically, but I don't give a fuck. It's in a dinosaur movie.
I don't know enough.
Who gives a fuck? Yeah. It's cool. So I enjoy that, but all the stuff at the mansion and the clone girl and being like, they're like me, and freeing them, I'm just like, I don't give a fuck.
This is not how I wanted dinosaurs. Not that I've ever really wanted dinosaurs to encounter, like, mainland, like, cross-country, like, affecting the nation. I've never cared to really see that. I still like the idea of, like, it being set around the park. That's why Jurassic Park is so perfect to me. But this is definitely not the way I wanted them just, like, half-assed, just, like, introduced to the world. It's just so, like, that's how they get out? Like, this little clone girl, they're like me, and hits the button and they're freed, and I'm like, really? That's what we're doing right now?
There's a pretty good short film, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's called The Battle at Big Rock.
Yeah.
And it takes place between Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, which I know you're going to watch tonight, I think.
Likely I'm going to watch, because it's the one, including Jurassic World Rebirth, Dominion is the only Jurassic World movie, Jurassic Park film I haven't seen. And I'm going to watch the extended cut, because from what I've heard, people said that it's somewhat better than the theatrical cut, and a lot of people consider Dominion to be the worst of the franchise, so I already know that I'm in for a nice little fucking treat. And I'm going to watch the longest version of it, so I'll watch that and I'll get that. But I have seen, something at Big Rock.
Battle at Big Rock. But that's kind of what I wanted from, like, okay, if you're going to bring dinosaurs to the real world, it's, I think, like a campsite, and they, like, just a T-Rex is coming through. It's a cool little idea, and then they don't really go anywhere with Dominion, so I'm excited to hear your thoughts on that one.
The locusts. I've heard about that.
The locusts is an incredible choice.
These movies are, like, at least these later films, and we'll talk about Rebirth here in a second, they're built around, like, two scripts that just feel shoehorned together, and that's what I'm getting from, like, the locusts idea, and then also tying up the end of this franchise and bringing in the new cast and the old cast together, and just fucking jerry-rigging that into one movie. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing? Just do a dinosaur movie. Wrap that up. Like, I don't need locusts being introduced in the sixth film being a pivotal part of this movie from what I've heard. So, probably at the end of next week, or next week's episode, I'll be able to give you kind of a concise ranking of my view of the Jurassic franchise. I think a lot of people have, like, the same top three, or would say, like, obviously Jurassic Park is number one. That doesn't get changed. Lost World and Jurassic World are 2 and 3, whatever way you kind of put them, and then it's the rest. And I actually really liked Jurassic Park 3, or thought it was a good enough time for what it was. It's not obviously great, and there's a lot of stupidity in that movie, and you can say the same about Fallen Kingdom, but also Jurassic World Rebirth. Came out this week, brand new release. Got to go see it in theaters. Corey, let's start with your thoughts on it, because we haven't, like, fully got in. I told you a lot of my thoughts on this movie before we started recording. I don't know a whole lot about what you thought, or kind of what your overarching opinion of this movie is. I think you probably liked it more than I did, but let's unpack that.
Yeah, so Gareth Edwards came in to direct this movie, which, first of all, I think was a great choice.
Perfect choice.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen his past filmography with Godzilla, Rogue One, and The Creator, and Monsters as well, which I shouted out last week. Really good movie.
Still haven't seen it.
Very, very good small movie, but we've talked many times about him capturing the scale of the dinosaurs, the size of it, and I think he brings that here. Even if all the visual effects don't look perfect, I think that he still does get a good scale, even in, like, the boat sequence when they're going to the island, when ScarJo's, like, hanging over the edge and the mosasaur's, like, under her and like
trying to shoot it with like the darts, or
and you just see its eye like
Yeah.
through the water. I think just little things like that. I think he captures really well in those action sequences. So that scene was fun. And even in, like, they're trying to get DNA to help with all these medical research things, which I think is a fine enough reason.
Yeah.
Go back to the island. Some of the movies, they're like, we'll give you some money to go back. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Which is kind of dumb. But I think this movie, the inciting, like, reason they go, I bought it. But I think even in the back part of the movie, that when they get to this facility in the dark, and there's a lot of like kind of fog, and they're at this like gas station or convenience store type place.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why that was there, but I think that the last like 20-25 minutes had good kind of tension and building up stuff. There's like in that convenience store, and it kind of calls back to the raptor scene in the kitchen from the first movie.
Yeah.
And then they're down in like these tunnels, and there's like one of the dinosaurs down there with them. Just good little kind of moments like that. And I liked too, there's like a helicopter trying to come and get them. And spoiler alert, I kind of want to get into spoilers for this movie.
Yeah, if you're really excited about it, this movie's already making bank at the worldwide box office, so go see it if you haven't. Most of you, I'm guessing, that are watching this have seen it. We're going to talk a little bit in depth about some spoilers, but there's not a whole lot to really spoil. It's kind of straightforward. It's a Jurassic Park movie, and if something's really going to fucking piss you off, then just skip ahead a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more in depth about this one.
Yeah. So spoiler alert, but yeah, there's the helicopter coming at the end to get him, and I really like the scene. It's all foggy, and then the big D-Rex, it's called, it's like kind of in the area, and it's coming through, and you see the helicopter lights, but then the helicopter's in its mouth, and I just thought that was really cool. Like, you think it's coming to land, and it's like just crunching the thing. So I liked the last kind of third act of this movie. I think it gave me what I wanted. And like I said, I think Gareth Edwards brought some good style and his scale to the movie. Overall, though, I was kind of disappointed with it. I think that the first 2/3 of this movie are very slow and very boring.
Painfully slow.
The script for this movie is not good. It's by David Koepp, who wrote the first two movies, and I was excited for him to come back in, but there was a lot of awkward dialogue scenes, and then
exposition dumps.
A lot of exposition dumps, and then you have the two different groups. The one main group with all the A-list Hollywood actors that are on the mission
that was marketed to us.
Right, and then you have this family that's on the sailing trip, and then they get capsized or whatever, and they have to get rescued, and they're also on the island.
Yeah.
But then they get separated on the island, so it's just them doing other shit. And the only part of their story I liked was the raft sequence, which has been talked about a lot, which was in the original Jurassic Park book, and people have kind of been wanting to see that for a long time. And I really like that idea of them being like next to this sleeping dinosaur, trying to get this raft and go down the river. I like that. So another sequence I enjoyed. But overall, that family I hated. There's a boyfriend character that has some of the dumbest fucking lines.
Some stupid jokes that made a lot of people in my theater laugh, and I was like, what is your IQ? What is your collective IQ if you think that is so fucking funny? Like, that is the most, like, bottom shelf humor. Like, nothing creative, nothing witty, just like, I'm taking a piss and dinosaurs are behind me, and I'm stopping peeing because there's dinosaurs, and then once they leave, I'm gonna pee again, and, like, okay, wow, so funny. Comedic genius, beautiful, great job. You did fantastic work here. But, yeah, no. I'll let you finish before I start getting really pissed about this movie.
Yeah, so that was really my biggest issue. I mean, this movie's, like 2 hours and 15 minutes almost, so if you cut that family out, honestly, of the whole movie, you could save 20 to 30 minutes of just their scenes. Like, it takes up a while.
Yeah.
But I think that was really my major issue with the movie, is just like the script being very weak, that family not needing to be in there because it's just taking up time. I think I appreciate this movie a little bit more than some of the last couple because it is a bit more back to basics. Going to this island with dinosaurs, trying to complete a task. Whereas like Dominion and Fallen Kingdom have so many different things they're trying to do, of like cloning and doing all this shit. And I kind of like just this mercenary team going back and trying to do something simple. So I thought that worked. And like I said, I think that some of the action sequences are fun. I think that the cinematography overall is pretty good. I enjoyed that. And I mean, Gareth Edwards, even though this movie was kind of, I don't know, rushed through production, but it was made very quickly. Like, they started filming last summer.
Yeah, they announced it and put this into theaters, I feel like, on such a tight turntable. Like, it was like, holy shit, this movie's already coming out? Like, I feel like we got announcements of this like a year and a half ago. And now it's, we've already seen it.
Yeah, so it felt like he didn't quite have all the time to fully do what he wanted to do, but I think overall it's a fine movie. I liked it more than Fallen Kingdom and Dominion. For me, it's about on par with 3 for both very different reasons.
Yeah.
It's kind of in that same part of my ranking. But I think if you're a fan of this franchise and you're going for some dinosaur action, you'll get it. I think you'll have to sit through some stuff at first and some bad dialogue, but it's still not anything that warrants this movie existing. So I would probably give this movie like a C, maybe a C plus, just for some of Gareth Edwards' style coming through. I didn't hate it. I had a fun time in the back half, but I know you really did not care for this movie.
I really did not like this movie. And I'm kind of, like, a lot of the things that you've mentioned as positive, I agree with a lot of them too. Like the scale that you get with Gareth Edwards, it is still there. And that back half, that latter portion of when they're at that facility at night, there are some kind of cool, somewhat set pieces. The raft set piece also earlier in the film is pretty good. The boat sequence is good. That's really been highlighted a lot in the trailers. It's just, this movie is so dull, so bland. And I do appreciate that it is more back to basics, and it does kind of do away with a lot of the kind of cloning bullshit of the later Jurassic World films, which, again, I still haven't finished all of them. So I like that it is a little bit more of like a grounded kind of back to basics attempt at it. The characters I did not care about, though. And I really hate which they brought this up in the later Jurassic World films, and they bring it up again in this, is that people are bored of dinosaurs. And I'm like,
it's not a thing.
How?
No.
How? Like, the beginning of this movie is someone getting stuck in traffic because a fucking, a Bronchiosaurus is underneath a bridge? And I'm like, that's boring to you? That's making my fucking life. You can see like, what are you doing? I don't understand in a world, and I get, like, you want to try and do something different, but I don't agree with that. People would always be enamored by dinosaurs if they existed today. I don't understand. Even in, like, Jurassic Park happened in the 90s, and it's 2020, whenever this movie is really taking place, I forget, but it's 5 years post-Dominion, so I'm guessing it's basically present day. I don't understand how in that short timetable you're like, you know what, yeah, people are kind of done with dinosaurs. It's like going to a zoo. It's like, shut the fuck up. It's a dinosaur.
It feels more like they're doing it within the movie and then also in real life where they're like, well, are people going to come back to Jurassic World movies if we don't, like, bring in a new mutated dinosaur? And it's like, yeah, people still go to zoos.
Yeah.
Like huh? What are you talking about?
So that they start the movie with that pretty quickly, of having that text come up on screen, which I didn't hate. Like, it does a good job of kind of setting where the world is now post the front of this franchise of the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park movies. So they do a good job of establishing where we are now. I just disagree with where they established us and what's going on. Also, there's some just horrible Final Destination-esque writing in the very beginning sequence of this facility, this research facility that is shown, of a Snickers bar wrapper really fucking up the entirety of this likely multi-million-dollar facility. I'm like, that's all it took. Just a little pressure change, and a Snickers wrapper fucking turned it upside down. Like, what?
The product placement in this movie is insane.
It does go crazy, which I was like, what do we do? What are you
It
doing?
looks like shots of M&Ms and
like
in the convenience store.
Don't need this. It
was
like a Michael Bay Transformers film in terms of the product placement. It's like, settle down. We know you like Bud Light. Shut the fuck up. Like, chill. The characters are very bland. Scarlett Johansson, I think, I like teeter-totter back and forth between thinking she was miscast or just horribly written. I don't think that she sold like this badass mercenary, but also I'm like, you're supposed to have like this human, like this really human and like at times touching moments between her and Mahershala Ali's character where they are just doing like an exposition dump of like, hey, how's your life been since how are you and your wife? Oh, your son died. Okay, cool. Like, it's just, we're getting backstory through characters not by experiencing them, just by hearing about them. It's a lot of tell, don't show, which is the exact opposite of what you should be doing. I was so bored throughout this movie. And there are parts towards the end that I did actually enjoy, but at that point, I'm already checked out. I was checking my watch because this movie is like 2:15. It felt longer, and you pay the price just specifically due to those two conflicting almost scripts. It feels like of this family that's shipwrecked and the group of mercenaries that we're supposed to be following, or at least have been shown that this is what the story's about. and then we have them just kind of butting heads. But I don't give a shit about this family and this dad of the family having issues with his daughter's boyfriend. And I'm like, that doesn't work for me. Don't care. That could be its own short story, short film, someplace else. Give me the mercenaries. Oh, you are giving me the mercenaries, but they're horribly written. And there's no character development. And everyone's playing the stereotypical archetypes that they're kind of chose to play. Like, there's also just a lot of conveniences in the script. Dinosaurs are always quiet. They're always quiet. These dinosaurs that are the size of a fucking building are sneaking up on Jonathan Bailey in every scene. And I love Jonathan Bailey. He deserves better. He's one of my favorite actors within this cast. He deserves better. Mahershala Ali deserves better, even though his character definitely should have died at the end of this movie. That's
so dumb.
So bullshit that he's just like, guys, I'm still alive. Even though the dinosaur had me cornered in his sights and I only had a flare. I'm still alive.
It felt so weird because, like...
It just didn't need to happen.
Well, like you said, like, dinosaurs got him in his sights, and it cuts away, and they get away on the boat, and it's like, oh, he died.
Yeah. And we're already getting Scarlett Johansson kind of grieving. I'm like, okay, this is something. This is something.
She's screaming his name, and then he shoots the flare up. And it's like I went back to of like there being awkward stuff.
Yeah.
When he's coming out with the flare and he's like, hey guys, I'm here. It felt like
something
the D-Rex is going to come out. And I'm like, okay, it's going to happen. And then it's just like on him for a bit.
Yeah.
And it cuts to him on the boat, and then the movie ends. I'm like, oh, wait, okay, that was weird. Just a strange like pace, a strange sequence. I don't know.
This movie is very predictable. Everyone plays the role that you expect them to play, and there's not a lot of development aside from what you expect. I was so bored by this movie. It's so dull. I would prefer, like, of the Jurassic Park movies I've seen, which I've seen, 6 now of the 7, this is my lowest rated film. Like, I'd much rather watch any of the other Jurassic Park or Jurassic World films before this. Even Fallen Kingdom, even Jurassic Park 3. There's no charm, really, to this movie. I do like that they are more back to basics. And another positive I would throw their way is that the main conceit, or the idea of, like, this is for medicinal reasons. And kind of the back and forth between Jonathan Bailey's character and Scarlett Johansson about what we should do with this information, with this DNA of these dinosaurs, I actually liked. And I think that kind of purpose of going to this venture is to get this DNA of these dinosaurs. I like that idea way more than like the Jurassic World military subplot and like that kind of skew of the franchise. I really like hey, we can learn something from this DNA and we could use this to benefit people. I'm like, okay, cool. I'm sold on that. But overall, just a massive whiff. Like, they didn't even swing too big because it does feel like a back to basics, but they just struck out on a lot of the easy shit that I'm like, come on, David Koepp, like, you were supposed to be the savior, the Jurassic Park boy, and you come back and you just fucking shovel your shit of 2 random subplots that are just mashed together, one of which I don't give a shit about, the other which I was excited about, but no one's developed, no one's interesting. So, and, like, I'm saying this as someone who thinks that the Jurassic Park franchise probably shouldn't exist past the first, or at least the first 2 movies. If Gareth Edwards was like, hey, we're making a second one, we're having a new writer, new cast, or some of the returning from Rebirth, I'd be sold and I'd go see it. So I didn't like this movie. I really actually hated this movie at times. There are things that I do think are massive positives, not being the humor, not being the effects. Sometimes the effects I thought were kind of wavering. The green screen was kind of like wonky at times, and I'm like, is this just a rushed story or a rushed movie, or is this is a Jurassic Park movie and this is the effort we put in? But I think that they could build upon this and make a better sequel. Whether or not they do that, I think Gareth Edwards isn't the one I fully blame for this movie. I think it is, most of the issues I have with this comes back to the script. So I'm like, all right, bring Gareth Edwards back. He's proven to me that he is a director worth watching. He knows and understands how to shoot spectacle. So if they're making a second film with some of the returning cast, I'm happy Mahershala Ali is alive just because I love him, but his character should have died. But if he wanted to be the main character of the next movie, I'm all for it. So if they made a second one, I'd go see it. This one, unfortunately, was just a massive disappointment for me.
Yeah, a couple other final notes, just as you were talking there, I kind of remembered stuff. The green screen in the sequence where they're getting, like, I don't think it's a pterodactyl, but a pterodactyl-like creature, where they're getting the eggs in there.
Yeah, okay.
The green screen in that looked very bad as they're going down this cliff and just, like, rappelling down. It didn't look very
Jonathan
good.
Bailey, yeah.
And then another thing, you know, even though I said I liked the plot of them doing it for medicinal research, there are I think it was 3 conversations between ScarJo and Jonathan Bailey that were the same exact conversation where they're like, what should we do with this? And they're like, give it to the people. We can't let Rupert Friend's character have it.
Who's and just then, like the business guy who's the asshole in every Jurassic Park movie. He's here for his own reasons of just making money.
And they have the same conversation like every 30 minutes. And they're like, what should we do with it? Like, give it to the people. Like, people need to have this. And then they get to the end of the movie like, what should we do? And they're like, give it to the... I'm like, no, you did this already.
We've talked about it,
like,
guys.
That's just the writing.
Scarlett, do you agree or not? Just do you want to do it?
Like, God, it was just annoying. But... yeah, I mean, I agree. I think I would be down for another one. The books, Jurassic Park and The Lost World, are both more horror aligned. And, like, the first movie has some, and, like, there's always elements of them in these movies, but they're more of the spectacle, big dinosaur action. I would love just going to an island and, like, whether it's a mercenary group or another group, and it's just a straight-up horror movie, where it's just, like, in the dark for most of it, and there's just raptors coming at you from every angle. Like, I think that would be really cool.
Something more contained, even.
Like, not specifically a found footage, but, like, a found footage style of, like, this Jurassic Park movie, I think would be a good way to go, because we've kind of done everything else already.
That's one positive I'd honestly throw towards Jurassic Park 3, and something I would like to see done again from that movie, is just how kind of simple that story is. It's a rescue mission of just going to save this kid. And not that the movie entirely works. There's a lot of stupid shit in that movie. I think doing something a little bit more bare bones, you don't need to have a research team. They've established that these dinosaurs all live along the equator. They've moved south just because that habitat, that climate, suits what they're accustomed to from back in time. Cool. I like that idea. But now just give me something that is as like well thought out, or just something more streamlined in terms of story, of put these characters in this situation and have a survival story. And make it more horror-esque. Make it like an Alien or something like that. Of just characters having to survive. That's one of the things that I really appreciated about Jurassic Park 3, even though that movie's not that great. So, I think that it's weird getting this as the 7th movie when they're like back to basics, but then they fuck that up even. So it's just, again, if you want to do another one, I'll go see it. I think that this movie easily could have been improved upon, and I think it mostly boils down to script issues with this, which is sad to say, because it's like, David, come on, you're gonna come save this movie? Oh no, you wrote Presents and you wrote this in the same... okay, yeah, fuck, sweet, alright, not good.
So, bit of a negative for you, kind of a mixed bag for me. I think some good, some bad. Like I said, if you're a fan of the franchise, I think you'll probably enjoy it. I know a lot, it's making bank at the box office, so...
And I hope it continues to.
Yeah. I mean, it's we good for movie theaters, so we'd like to see that. So
I will say it's not my least favorite movie of this year. There's one movie that I like less than this movie, and I feel like you might be able to guess it. It is a sequel. It's not the one that we're about to talk about, because I know you saw it this past week.
Yeah.
But it's a sequel that I told you is just maybe one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
The Accountant 2?
Yep, that is my least. Accountant, we'll maybe like sometime this month unpack like our top 10 so far this year or something like that, or even like our favorite summer movies. But I can confidently tell you my least favorite movie of 2025 has been The Accountant 2. And then just above that is Jurassic World Rebirth, but I would much rather rewatch Rebirth than Accountant 2, because that is insane.
A crazy
in
wild
all
movie.
The wrong ways. It's so bad.
Yeah. So, a movie that you talked about last week that I finally got around to this week was Megan 2, or Mithrigan 2.0, whatever you want to say. So I rewatched the first movie. I hadn't seen it since we watched it in theaters, and I actually really enjoyed it again on a rewatch. I always liked it, but I actually really dug it. And I watched the unrated cut, which is like 7 seconds shorter, but there's more violence, or they show more violence.
Okay.
Of like the kid's ear being ripped off. They actually show it stretching, which is crazy.
That was always like a weird thing to me. I was just like, because the movie in theaters, I was like, this is like kind of like towing the line between being like something really violent and in your face and not. And then that scene happens. I was like, oh, we're really like killing a kid right now.
Yeah.
Like, okay, shit.
Yeah, so that that one's fine. I like it. I think it's a good entry-level horror movie. And the comparison has been made a lot of times with Megan 2 of the Terminator 2 treatment, of making it more action-centered, and then also doing the bad robot from the first one is helping out in the second one. And I think it goes from that genre switch from more horror to action, and I kind of think of it like the Alien and Terminator franchise.
Yeah.
Not that these movies are anywhere near the quality, but just as a comparison. Like, I prefer...
The same idea.
Yeah, the same sort of idea. I prefer the horror elements to the action stuff, so I prefer Alien to Aliens, I prefer Terminator to Terminator 2.
You do?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Okay. Yeah. I always thought I was... Terminator I like way more than Terminator 2.
Yeah, I mean, I love all 4 of those movies.
They're great. Yeah.
I just prefer the horror stuff, and that's how I feel here, too. I prefer the horror of Megan over Megan 2.0 because it doesn't do any horror stuff in this movie. It's not at all.
No.
It abandons what worked well in that first movie and kind of balancing the tone of, like, this dark comedy and then some horror and some fun kills. This movie is just straight up sci-fi action, and I didn't give a fuck about any of it. They have a new AI robot thing played by Ivana Sakno, who's in Ahsoka.
Yep.
One
of the best parts of that show, which I actually really like that show, but she was phenomenal.
Yeah, she's really good in that show. And she's going on a rampage doing stuff, and so Allison Williams and Violet McGraw are kind of teaming up with Megan to stop this AI thing, whatever. I don't even like remember a lot of plot points from this movie. I almost fell asleep like 3 times during it. It is just one of the dumbest fucking things I've seen. You mentioned it last week of like this bunker being built beneath their house that Megan has kind of been in, but how did she build it?
Because she doesn't have a physical body at this point in the movie, so it's like, who did like the labor of assembling?
Who did she hire?
Yeah, what team is showing up to the house and just taking orders from a fucking like iPad? Like, what's going on?
And then you have Jermaine Clement in the movie who feels like he's in kind of a different movie.
Yeah.
And he's doing his weird thing, but it's kind of entertaining. And then you have Aristotle Athari, who plays spoiler alert, plays the villain in the movie. It's not
a spoiler. Watch the movie, you'll know in 5 minutes that he's likely the villain.
And don't confuse his name with Christian, because it's Christian.
Yeah.
And they make that joke, or they say that so much throughout the movie. They're like, oh, it's Christian. I'm like, is this funny, or what are we doing? What is this joke? Time. And he's trying to... I don't even understand what the fuck he was doing, because he was like against AI, but he wanted to use AI to show people that AI was bad or something.
Sure.
And he had this like vault in the bottom of the Xerox building or whatever the fucking building was. They're like, oh, it's actually underneath this well-known building. I'm like, okay. All right, Megan's gonna just paraglide through the fucking thing. And then there's a big fucking robot fight at the end. Allison Williams gets a chip in her fucking brain. And she can fight well because Megan's in her head.
Yeah.
And then it just... Also, the ending of this movie... I'm going to talk again...
spoilers.
Yeah, spoilers. There's a lot of stuff centered around AI that I watched this week. And the end of this movie, Allison Williams is at a congressional panel, whatever... And she's talking like, yeah, we need to pair with AI. We need to celebrate it, but also you keep our distance a little bit. We need to do that. I'm like, what a weird fucking message after you just saw 2 killer robots trying to fuck each other up. You're like, no, we need to work together with it before that they destroy us.
Yeah.
And I'm like, are we trying to praise the AI overlords right now? Because after the movie I just watched, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you mean you want to pair with it? What does that mean?
This movie has a massive massive dick of just self-importance, especially what it's trying to accomplish. It's so much bigger, the scale is so much bigger than what this movie is allowing it to be. And it's trying to be this massive thing about AI in the modern world and how dangerous it could be. And I'm like, how did we get here from the first Megan? And this is coming from someone that actually moderately enjoyed this movie and had a good time. This movie just throws shit at the screen and just has you accept it at face value. Don't ask questions because we're moving on to the next stupid thing. There is no justification or explanation to a lot of the random stupid shit that happens in this movie. Which is fine. You don't need it. But also, I'm like, what the fuck is that? Oh, and we're moving on. All right, fine. Some of the action, what did you think of the action before? Because I think it moderately worked well for me.
I don't remember anything.
Okay,
I don't remember. There's nothing that I can be like, oh, that scene was good. And if you're gonna do this, at least make some memorable sequences.
They go to this weird, and I saw this movie, this weird AI convention, I think, or
some weird Comic-Con type thing.
It's like a Comic-Con type thing. And you get like one of the first throwdowns between Megan and this new AI robot, and I thought like some of the style of that was kind of intriguing and kind of cool, but it was never anything that I was like, oh wow, this justifies this movie existing. This is great. So it is a wild shift from the first movie to this, because this story is massive in this movie and so convoluted, and there's so many heel turns, and it's just AI gone rampant with this movie. Don't get that from the first movie. It's just okay. Megan it's Chucky again. Like it's child's play. Like this robotic toy going haywire and trying to kill this kid or trying to defend this kid or whatever. And then you get to here and it's, oh no, AI all over the world. How do we combat that? And I'm like, what's going on
there's
here?
no like emotional depth with the characters in this movie.
And Megan versus Baby Skynet.
Basically, yeah. And I think that the first movie, I'm not going to say it's like this super deep thing, but I think it is a decent story about this aunt that is bringing in her niece and is like trying to be a parent, but she's not equipped for it. AI comes in, she's like, oh, this can help me out. And you see the dangers of AI. And I think that is a better representation of how like computers and AI like infiltrate our lives rather than this big action movie. So I think that it actually had a little bit more to say in the first movie that I think kind of why it caught on with some people too, because it's like, oh, it's not just a dumb horror movie or a dumb killer doll movie. So I prefer the first one by quite a bit, and I think that this second one just really went off the rails and didn't understand what worked about the first one and doubled down on all the bad things of the first one, like Megan singing for an uncomfortable amount of time.
Oh my god, that scene is horrible.
Like, that's in the first movie too, but it's
really,
really long in this.
Too long.
It's just sitting there, I'm like, this is going on forever. It's crazy.
And it's supposed to be funny, but it's never funny.
No.
It's just only uncomfortable. And like, the character is kind of tuned into like, this is uncomfy, like, but it's not funny. It's only uncomfortable, and it goes on for like a minute and a half longer than it should. I agree with you where I think that the first Megan is probably better, and I kind of, after hearing that you rewatched, I'm like, maybe I should go back and rewatch it. Maybe I'll have a better time with it. I had a good time in the theaters watching the second one in comparison to when we watched the first one in theaters. But I think the first one is just a way better made film. It's more polished. It's easier. It's simpler. This one is... Megan 2.0 is so convoluted. And it's a fucking mess. But some of the action, I was like, all right, I'm kind of in on this. And once you get in, like, the fuck it mindset of, like, whatever, sure, which I couldn't do with Jurassic World Rebirth, but for some reason, Megan 2.0, I'm like, yeah, sure, this is fine, whatever. I don't care about this franchise, fine. I was able to kind of just have a good time, but I'm not surprised by your reaction to this movie at all.
It was, like you said, it's convoluted. I didn't understand what was happening.
Oh.
And
no.
I
don't think you're supposed to.
No, I was like, I'm not really following what this is or what these things are. So, yeah, I don't know. Not a recommendation for me.
No. We did mention that it was 4th of July this past weekend. So, in the spirit of just patriotism and kind of, when I think of like a good 4th of July type movie, I think of something that's kind of sometimes cheesy, has some sort of military representation within it. Weirdly enough, Tom Cruise screams 4th of July to me, and I think that might make sense to some of the people that listen to this or watch us. So I decided my 4th of July movie, which is going to be a little bit out of order for me and Corey, but I watched Days of Thunder for 4th of July for the first time. And a big comparison with the movie Days of Thunder, which came out in 1990, directed by Tony Scott, starring Tom Cruise, is that it is Top Gun, but in NASCAR. And after watching Days of Thunder, I'll talk about my thoughts on that movie in a minute, I watched Top Gun. And I can confirm to you that they are the exact same movie. And I don't give a fuck. They're both perfect. Loved them both. Top Gun I did watch this past week. In response or after watching Days of Thunder, Top Gun is still perfect. I still love that movie. It's so quintessential 80s filmmaking. It has Tony Scott directing. It has the great just camaraderie of all the flight crew of Iceman and fucking Maverick, and you got Goose, and it's such a great movie, and it's just when I think Top Gun, I think of a man sweating with sunglasses and saying "fuck you" to another man. Like it's perfect.
Awesome
soundtrack. Even though that movie had the budget for 2 songs, and it's Danger Zone and whatever the lovemaking song.
Take My Breath Away. It plays so much. Great song, but it plays all the time.
Literally those 2 songs and only those 2 songs. They play Danger Zone probably 40 times.
Oh, and the volleyball scene Playing with the Boys by Kenny Loggins, that's a good song too.
That and goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Like that's classic. Iconic within the Top Gun franchise. So Top Gun, great. I did watch that this weekend, but Days of Thunder was the new watch for me. I watched that 4th of July night, and I went into it hearing all of these kind of comparisons to Top Gun because it is by the same director. It's roughly the same runtime, has the same lead character, and that character has a lot of the same idiosyncrasies of Maverick from Top Gun. It's this hotshot racer who's always been good at racing, but then you kind of learn about him, and he's like, I actually don't know anything about cars, I just am good at driving. I went into Days of Thunder hearing that it was lesser than Top Gun, or again, it's just Top Gun with NASCAR. I loved this fucking movie. And again, it's made by Tony Scott, who made Top Gun, who made Enemy of the State, who did Crimson Tide. Like, I love Tony Scott, brother of Ridley Scott. Days of Thunder is so much fun. It has some stuff that is wholly of its time. Same with Top Gun, where it's just like, this is so specific to like 80s, 90s filmmaking, 80s, 90s, just kind of the way people looked at stuff, the culture of it. There's like, Days of Thunder is Nicole Kidman. She plays a doctor. She comes into the hospital room after an accident that Tom Cruise's character, Cole Trickle, was involved in. And Cole, being a man of the 90s, 80s, coming from that kind of mindset, thinks that Nicole Kidman, this doctor, is clearly some sort of hired or put on prostitute, stripper, something like that, and just immediately grabs Nicole Kidman's hand and puts it on his dick. And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? What is this? And it's to highlight that point and then say that this movie's amazing may make me sound like a horrible person, but it's so of its time. And it finds a way for Tom Cruise later on in this movie to consistently intrude this woman's life and make her to win her over. And it's like, looking at it with modern day lenses, it's like, this dude is insane. Like, he needs a restraining order. He needs to be put in jail. But in the broad picture of a 1990s racing movie, it's like, he's gonna get her. He's gonna win her over. Hell yeah. And watching this movie on 4th of July, watching just people run around a racetrack, you got Michael Rooker in an awesome supporting role, which it's like, I haven't seen a movie have Michael Rooker so front and center since like watching Slither, the James Gunn film. And it's just so surprising to see Michael Rooker in such a large role. You also have John C. Reilly. You have Robert Duvall in a great like mentor type relationship with Tom Cruise. This was just such a fun, turn your brain off, ooh rah, let's have a good time 4th of July movie. And it is filmed a lot like Top Gun in terms of just the look of it, the color aesthetic, the appearance of the film, but also the racing sequences. It's just, I was kind of blown away. I was like, damn, even for 1990, this is impressive for what they were able to capture within camera and to make a cohesive, kind of adrenaline-fueled racing film. So I really dug Days of Thunder. I then went on and watched Top Gun and proved to myself that I still love Top Gun. So it was kind of a good little 4th of July double feature of watching 2 movies that are story-wise, plot-wise, roughly the same movie, but within the world of military flying and then NASCAR racing, just with the same actor and same director. So it was a cool experience watching them both kind of back to back. I love both movies. Corey, I know you've seen both, but you've seen Days of Thunder obviously well before I have. So what are your kind of takeaways from these 2 movies?
No, I watched that as a kid and I was like, this is fucking awesome. Like, this just, I mean, you're watching like racing or like planes as a kid with Top Gun and you're like, this is so cool. And it is, like you said, perfect 80s, 90s filmmaking. Yeah. That still cheesy. Looks really good, though. Oh, yeah. Like, just stuff that is made on film and real locations and, like, real stunts, you know, for a lot of it is just, it stands out. And, you know, I'm glad that F1 kind of followed in those footsteps of doing real stunts and great camera work. along with Top Gun Maverick. So it's fun that we kind of have like a parallel for both of these movies in the last few years with Maverick and F1, that we can kind of be like, all right, that harkens back to what we used to do in the 80s and 90s. So,
and we'll talk about F1 a little bit in the movie news portion of today's episode, and kind of what a sequel might have in line for it. So that was F1, and seeing that in theaters was just such a wild ride that it definitely propelled me into wanting to watch Days of Thunder. So hopefully something can happen with a potential F1 sequel with bringing back Cole Trickle and Tom Cruise or whatever.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, no, those are two great 4th of July movies. I know last week we mentioned a little bit, like we talked about Independence Day, and then Transformers, you mentioned kind of just a summer movie. It's a good summer, I also wanted to shout out The Sandlot as a great 4th of July movie. I think that is a perfect summer. Just a whole family can watch that movie, so I just wanted to throw it in there as a 4th of July flick. Something that I watched on 4th of July weekend, which, whatever. The Old Guard 2.
Oh, yeah, I see the Old Guard. Yeah, that makes sense.
Everybody's like, oh, yeah, 4th of July, Old Guard
2. Uma Thurman.
Yeah, I remember watching the first movie. I think I said it last week, but during COVID, a lot of stuff, wasn't coming out in theaters, but The Old Guard and Da 5 Bloods came out on Netflix around the same time. And I just remember watching those kind of back to back. I was like, I want new stuff, and Da 5 Bloods is really good.
It's phenomenal.
And The Old Guard, I actually quite enjoyed. I think it's a cool concept of these immortal warriors that have been throughout history fighting different evils and battles and stuff, and they've been around for 2,500 years, whatever. And I thought some of the action was pretty good in there, and I was, excited for a sequel at one point, but now it's been 5 years, and I've kind of like lost interest a little bit, because they left on a cliffhanger of this, like, one of the warriors being trapped for like 500 years, and she gets let out. So it's like, oh, okay, what is that going to look like? And this movie, it has some fun of like building up the lore and mythology of these immortal people, and like some of the rules that they have, where like if some of them get killed by one person or get like cut by one person, they can transfer their immortality to someone else. So there's like some fun in there of kind of their philosophies, and they add Henry Golding into the cast here, along with Uma Thurman, who was nice to see. I love Uma Thurman, and I wish she was in more stuff, because I think she's great. But it's a very boring movie. It is very clearly a middle chapter, because they're setting up hard for a third movie that I don't know if it's going to happen. Because this doesn't have like a Jurassic World or a Dune type thing where it's like, a sequel's getting made if you're making $1 billion, whatever. This movie's like, I don't know that you have the confidence to like plan for a third movie, because the action, first of all, the action in this movie is a step down from the first one, so that's kind of, not as fun. It's very boring, and also Uma Thurman at the end of the movie is kind of kidnapping a lot of these immortals because she wants to take their immortality and live forever, or whatever. I don't know, but sure, it doesn't really matter. Sure, fuck it, I don't care. But the movie sort of ends, and spoilers, I guess, for Old Guard 2. But Charlize Theron, who plays the character of Andy, and Veronica Nyo, I think it's pronounced, plays Quinn, who gets freed from this prison, like I said at the end of the first movie. And she comes back, and they have some conversations. They knew each other back in the day, and they're kind of reconnecting. And they hate each other throughout the whole movie. And then at the end, they kind of start to team up. And the last shot of the movie is them like on their way to save their friends that Uma Thurman captured. But this movie doesn't have like a story of its own.
To set up a sequel to it.
Yeah, and it's third chapter. And like I understand like, part 1 and 2 is like a Deathly Hallows or a Dune, Dune Part 1, where it's like, you're setting something up for the future, but you also tell a contained story here.
This is still its movie.
This movie doesn't do that, where it just really feels like it's setting up like, okay, there's potentially going to be this big thing that happens, but we're not going to show you any of that, really, and it's just going to be a bland sort of setup, and it's not an awful movie because I like the concept enough and I like the mythology. It is based on a graphic novel series, which I've never read, but I'd actually kind of be interested in it because I think it's sort of cool, and there's a lot of big actors in this here, like Chiwetel Ejiofor. Matthias Schoenaerts I actually really like in the movie. He's kind of like a rogue, one of these immortal people, so it's like, I don't know, if you really love the first movie, I think that you can get something out of this, but it is absolutely a step down, and was just kind of like a new thing I wanted to check out since I'd seen the first one. And I'd be curious about a third movie, but like I said, I don't know if that's going to happen at all.
Do you know if this is the same director as the first one?
It's not. The first movie was, I think it was Gina Prince Bythewood, who went on to do The Woman King, which I didn't see. But
I still didn't see that.
Yeah, so like her handle into action in the first movie was actually pretty good, and that's why I was curious to check this one out to see this continue a little bit. But it really didn't do much for me. It's not terrible. It's like an hour and a half or hour 40, so like it's a pretty quick watch through, but it's more of just kind of streaming slop that you forget about a day after you watch it.
That sucks.
Yeah,
I haven't seen the old guard, but I feel like that was one of the few like action, especially with Netflix, but one of the few like action films that came out in that time when we're like, well, not a lot of new stuff is coming out in theaters because of COVID and everything, but that was one of the few that like stuck, where I was like, oh, like this is supposedly pretty good, like I can go check this out. So it sucks to hear that the sequel kind of doesn't live up to the hype, even with such a stacked cast from the looks of it. But yeah, that's a shame.
Yeah, so I can't really recommend that one either. But, actually no, not but another thing that I also wouldn't recommend is Ironheart, which...
Yeah, but sounded like it was going to be like, oh, this is actually great.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean that. Ironheart, we had the first 3 episodes last week, I talked about that. Last 3 episodes came out this past week, and kind of divisive, actually, which I didn't expect from an Ironheart show, but a lot of people really enjoyed this, and a lot of people are kind of defending it.
Yeah.
I am not one of those people. I don't think it's good. I mean, I talked kind of at length last week just about the setup for the show, not really feel like it warranted a 6-episode series, and after seeing all 6 episodes now, it feels very much like Falcon and Winter Soldier, where they try to do a lot of different things, and it just didn't have the time to do it. And also, I wasn't really interested in a lot of it. More of the like personal stuff with Riri Williams, played by Dominique Thorne, who I said last week was good, and I continue that. I think she really is the standout of the show. Obviously, she's the title character, but she gives a good performance, and like I said, I would love to see her pop up in other MCU projects. So she was good, but her relationships in the movie, it feels like it's all over the place, with Alden Ehrenreich being Ezekiel Stane, and then, spoiler alert, sorry, I feel like we keep saying that, but I don't like to spoil anything. I want people to watch it pure for the first time. But, you know, Ezekiel Stane, and then you have Anthony Ramos as the Hood, and then you have Mephisto come in the last episode.
Sacha Baron Cohen.
And yeah, Sacha Baron Cohen, who, great casting. I love him as Mephisto. Like, in the last episode, I think he's really good, actually.
Is he in it a lot? Like, from the sounds of it, he's in it for like 5 minutes. It's just that last sequence between him and Shiri.
Shiri.
What's her name? Riri. Shiri. I was thinking She-Ra.
It's like the pronouns Shiri.
Between Mephisto and Riri Williams.
So that's the bulk of it, but he does show up in the earlier part of the episode where Anthony Ramos gets the Hood.
Okay.
So you see him pop in and kind of have a same conversation with him, kind of like he does with Riri at the end of
Making a deal, yeah.
Yeah, so he was really good, and he kind of had this like chaotic energy to him of this like devil character that's manipulating everybody. So I like that, and I think it's really good casting, and I'd love to see him pop up in other stuff too. But my main issue with this show is that Riri is a character that I kept wanting to have an arc, and she just doesn't. Where there's this whole backstory, like we said, of her stepdad and her friend dying. She brings back her friend as a sort of AI thing in the first episode, or end of the first episode. And then we go through the series, and she joins this heist group with Anthony Ramos, and she's doing terrible things, but she's like, no, I need money for my suit, so it's okay, whatever. And then you've, like, at least for me, I wanted to build up to this thing where she's like, no, we can leave the past behind. And I think what's more frustrating is that the last episode is called The Past is the Past. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, so you're learning, like, all right, this terrible tragedy happened to me.
It feels misleading.
But I can learn from that, I can build from that, but we can leave it behind. And we can be like, all right, I'll use that to do good going forward. But then at the end of this episode, Riri is sitting with Mephisto, and he's like, I can bring back your friend. I can give you anything you want. He's trying to win her over, obviously. He's like, I can do whatever you want. And she makes a deal with him to do it. And then the episode ends. And that's how the series this, I don't know if we're getting a second season or not. I hope not, but like it just felt like there was no growth for Riri's character in this, and it sucks because, like I said, I really like her, but there's just nothing here that I was like, oh wow, I feel like I grew with you. And I don't like the idea of being like, well, no, if there's a second season or if she comes in something else, then we'll figure it out then. I need something here. Even if she makes that choice at the end, I need to know why she did it, and I don't feel like I felt that. And the final, like, kind of action, like, climax with Anthony Ramos is very dull, and it just kind of ends on a whimper.
So I haven't watched the show yet, and I don't know... based off, like, I've heard a lot about, like, the big story elements and what happens, and obviously what happens with Mephisto at the very end. So I feel like I know, like, a pretty good course of what this show fully encompasses. But doesn't she build a fucking Iron Man suit out of a car?
Yeah,
from the sounds of it, with, like, her mom and, like, maybe, like, a 12-year-old kid. And like,
yeah, so it's the car that showed up in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, that, like, red and black car.
Okay.
And then in the beginning, I think it's the first episode, she talks about how she had to sell that for parts and whatever. Her mom buys it back, and then they use that to build the suit, which, like, I actually dig the look of the suit, the red and black. I think it looks cool. But again, there's just so many, again, side characters that they're trying to put in here that I really don't care about all that much. And she's just kind of like a frustrating character because she doesn't have that growth, like I said. And it also feels weird to have Mephisto show up in this show. It feels like, you know, they teased it kind of in WandaVision where people are speculating.
Everyone thought Mephisto was showing up,
and then
including
me. And then you're like, maybe he shows up in something like Loki, or maybe he shows up in Agatha all along, like a more mystical, magical type show or project. But it felt odd to mash these things together of like technology and magic. It didn't quite blend for me, and I think they were just trying to do so much, and you know, even with Alden Ehrenreich, like, he gets this, like, bionic enhancement where he can shoot lightning out of his fingers, and he has a whole battle with Riri, and, like, I like I said, I like Alden Ehrenreich. I think he's a good actor, and I'm happy that he's in the MCU, but for this, it felt, like, kind of wasted.
Yeah.
There is a post-credits scene that sets up Strange Academy, which is, like, Doctor Strange's, like, school or whatever with these other characters, Zelma, who shows up in the show. And I don't know if that's going to lead anywhere significant. It feels like the MCU has a lot of dangling threads that they're like, maybe we'll get back to it.
Doctor Doom.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, here's Charlize Theron at the end of Multiverse of Madness, and here's Harry Styles at the end of Eternals, here's Strange Academy at the end of... It's like,
where are we going?
When is this all
Vision Quest is also a thing.
And I don't know. So this one didn't work for me. I know a lot of people dig it. I don't think it's an awful show. I think it is slightly better than She-Hulk.
Okay.
And maybe about on par with Ms. Marvel for a lot of the similar reasons of, like, the main character I like, but everything around it I didn't care for all that much.
I've seen some people, which I don't think you're going to necessarily put it up as high as this, because I know you like Hawkeye more than maybe more than the average person, or you actually really appreciate that show. But I've seen some people compare it to Hawkeye in terms of, like, didn't love the story, but it's still a decent character or something I'm interested in. I didn't even finish Hawkeye, so I didn't hate it. It was just like, it didn't fully win me over enough to finish all of that show. I'm just really bad at watching TV, and I haven't started Ironheart. From what I've heard, I'm like, I don't think I'm missing out, but honestly, the thing that gets me excited is the Sacha Baron Cohen being within the MCU. Whether he's going to return as Mephisto or not, that's kind of interesting. It is kind of, to echo your thoughts on it, it's weird to envision this is where we get Mephisto. Ironheart, not WandaVision, not Agatha All Along, or if Strange Academy is a show or a project that moves forward, not even in that. Like, this is where we get Mephisto. Interesting. So, I haven't watched it. From your thoughts, I don't think I'm 100% missing out, but there are some cool things that could serve to be larger within the MCU, but also it's hard to tell within this phase of the MCU where now it's all signs point to Doctor Doom. And I don't know, with the MCU and Marvel's kind of release plan for Ironheart of just kind of pushing it out and shoving it out in 2 weeks, it's like, is this going to have massive repercussions? I liked Riri Williams in Wakanda Forever. I didn't think she was, like, 100% necessary in that movie, but I overall, like, enjoyed the character. I think I'd rather just leave my experience with that character at Wakanda Forever for now until she is in a movie again, and I'm like, hell yeah, more of her, as opposed to like watching a show that might kind of taint my viewing or my experience with that character. So kind of a rocky road, but also not surprised by your response. I have seen kind of that outpouring of people being like, oh, this last episode changes everything. Like, it's so much better. It's like, I don't think that's how that works.
Yeah, I will say the last 3 episodes are better than the first three. So
okay.
That's a positive, I suppose. But,
yeah. I still don't love the idea of like the AI Natalie. Again, this is all coming from someone that hasn't watched the show, but like, I don't love that introduction into the MCU of AI.
Like I mentioned, I watched a lot of AI-centered things with Megan too in this movie where they're like, no, we need to like band with AI. I'm like, I don't like this line of thinking in Hollywood or in real life.
Write this?
AI needs to go away. I hate when I search something and Google AI comes up and it's wrong.
It's
wrong. I hate it. You're not even right. Be right if you're going to be there.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
But aside from all the AI bullshit and Ironheart and all the movies that we watched from this past week, looking ahead, was this number 2 for your top 10 anticipated of the summer?
Mm-hmm.
And this was my number 3. James Gunn's Superman, coming out on July 11th. I already have my ticket booked for like a 10:30 p.m. showing Thursday night, and I am so fucking stoked. Superman, directed by James Gunn, obviously directed the Guardians of the Galaxy films. He did Super, he did Slither, he's done a lot of weird, wacky shit, but now he's the head of DC Studios, and now he's making Superman, which is a movie that, like I said, me and Corey are both very excited about. David Corenswet, Rachel Brosnahan, Nicholas Hoult, a stacked cast, and Isabella Merced, who we're going to finally see again post Last of Us Season 2, so I'm really excited to see her, Frank Grillo. Amazing cast. Superman must reconcile his alien Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing as reporter Clark Kent. We don't really fully understand or know exactly what all of this story is within this movie. We kind of have the basics, the bare bones of a Superman story, and an introduction to Clark Kent and Kal-El. But damn it, am I so stoked. The trailers have been really phenomenal. It is a massive juxtaposition and difference from what we got with like the Zack Snyder DCU and the Man of Steel representation of the character, and I'm really excited to see kind of a really like colorful, hopeful Superman, which this is coming from a fan of the Man of Steel, Zack Snyder Superman. I love those movies, but I'm so eagerly anticipating this movie. I can't wait to see David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan's chemistry. Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor, he just looks, even in that like short little teaser of like, where's the dog? Where's the dog? And you get Nicholas Hoult being a little fucking shit eater of like, oh, the dog with the cape. It's like, you bitch. Where's Krypto? I am so sold on this movie. I'm so excited. I'm trying to see it as early as I possibly can, but we have softball this week, so it's like, all right, I need to try and find a showtime that allows me to go to beer league softball and then also see Superman. So Thursday is going to be a great day for me this week. I can't fucking wait for this movie.
I'm also very excited. I actually did not see Man of Steel in theaters, so this will be my first pure Superman movie. Obviously saw like BVS and Justice League and all that, so this is something I'm really excited for. I'm going to watch through all the Superman movies, Christopher Reeve and Superman Returns.
Big week ahead of you.
Big week, watching both cuts of Superman 2, because I've only seen the theatrical one, so I'm excited for that. It'll be just a great way to lead up to it. And I actually haven't seen Superman 3 or 4. So
I haven't seen 3. I've seen Quest for Peace. Quest for Peace is 4.
Yep.
Ass. Haven't seen 3, but that's the one with Richard Pryor, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
So like, I'm excited to take a journey through film history and watch it. So it'll be great. I love what I've seen from David Corenswet and Rachel Brosnahan. Like I've said many times, I am still worried about the amount of people in this movie and the cast. I kind of just wanted it to be a Superman movie, and now it feels like there's so many other things happening. Yeah. And I hope that it works. I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt. I love James Gunn, so I'm excited for it still. Mm-hmm. But cautiously optimistic is how I'd say I'm going into this one.
My biggest difference from you is that has never been a worry for me, just because they've stressed that this is Superman kind of coming into a world that's already been established within. Like, Superman isn't going to be the first hero in this world, and that's fine. I like that. But also, with these latter trailers that have been so, like, Mr. Terrific and Hawkgirl and Green Lantern, it has started to feel, I'm like, okay, like, I get it. And I like what we're establishing, but I also need to leave at the end of the day being like, this is a Superman movie. So,
yeah.
Whereas initially I've been kind of not oppositional of what you've thought, but I've been more of like optimistic of like, oh, this is gonna be a Superman movie through and through. As we've gotten later into like the trailers and more I've seen, I'm like, okay, but like, please just sell me that this is a Superman movie. Like, I need to leave at the end of the day thinking, wow, this was a great Clark Kent Kal-El movie. Like, still super stoked. In James Gunn I trust. In James Gunn we trust. Like, he's done nothing that I've really like been like. I've always been a fan of his work. So I'm super stoked for it. Yeah, I can't fucking wait. This is gonna be kind of again, July is a big month for the summer, but between this and then Fantastic Four in the next couple of weeks, we're gonna have a big couple of weeks for movies in theaters. So I'm really excited and optimistic. Little trepidatious, but overall very optimistic for this movie because I've heard nothing but great. And my favorite superhero movie, one of my favorite superhero movies, is the Christopher Reeve 1978 Superman. That score for that movie, which by John Williams, it's my favorite score in all of film. Makes me cry. Love that score. I'm really eager to see also how they incorporate or how much they don't incorporate, because I want this film to be distinct and be of itself. I feel like a lot of the marketing has kind of revolved around that really recognizable John Williams theme, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. It's working for selling me, but like, give me something else. So, trepidatious, but very optimistic. Can't wait. I'm so excited to see this Thursday night.
Yeah, next week will be Superman week.
Oh,
we'll spend a lot of time on that. So, cannot believe that we're less than a week from seeing Superman. It's awesome. But if you're looking for some counter-programming, if you're not a superhero fan, there's a smaller movie that kind of caught my interest that's coming out this week called Sovereign. And it's directed by Christian Swagel. And it stars Nick Offerman, Jacob Tremblay, and Dennis Quaid, amongst others. And it's about a father and son who identify as sovereign citizens, a group of anti-government extremists who find themselves in a standoff with a chief of police that sets off a manhunt. And it sounded kind of interesting, like a smaller little movie. I like Nick Offerman. It sounded kind of like it could be set in the world of Civil War almost, in a weird way, with like, I don't know, just maybe Nick Offerman being there, just like kind of click that for me. But yeah, I don't know. This isn't one that I probably won't catch it in theaters, but it sounds like something interesting, and if I hear good things about it, I may check it out for sure. So that's a smaller movie, but there is still a lot of good stuff in theaters. F1 is still out there, so if you're looking for some summer stuff, there's a lot of good options out there.
It is really fun to, like, as someone who hasn't seen everything that has come out this past summer, like How to Train Your Dragon, I still haven't seen. Lilo and Stitch, I still haven't seen. But like, to look at like the lineup of what's showing at a theater and being like, holy fuck, F1 is going to be in the theaters as the same week as when we get Superman, and also we have Megan 2.0, whether you like that or not. Or like, there's so much good counter programming. Also, just great event films that are in theaters all at the same time. So you can't really, I feel like, do yourself wrong. I don't know how big of a release Sovereign's going to get, but I've heard relatively good things about it. So I'm like also intrigued, and it's so different from my excitement for Superman. So I'm like, maybe I'll go see Sovereign this week if it's showing near us. So it's the type of movie that's kind of perfect for like, all right, this is Superman week, but also we have the smaller release for people that aren't interested in Superman, which is understandable and fine. We've had so many Superman movies, but I can't wait. Moving into physical media roundup, this will likely be the last time we talk about Jurassic Park or Jurassic World this fucking episode, because we've talked ad nauseum about it. But my one purchase this week was, I actually ended up buying the 4K Blu-ray of The Lost World Jurassic Park, just because I do really like that movie. I watched it last week and we talked about it. And yeah, I think it's a good kind of companion piece to the first film. Nothing obviously touches the first Jurassic Park movie, but this is the one that I feel like is in line with it the most in terms of charm, in terms of what it's setting out to do. And I think it does do a good job of kind of balancing what happened in Jurassic Park and kind of having and offering up interesting conversation about the repercussions of Jurassic Park. So I really like Lost World Jurassic Park. Got that 4K. I'm super excited. It should be actually be getting delivered today as we speak. So hopefully by the time I get home later on today, I'll be able to get that out of the mailbox, which it's a different type of excitement when you find it in store, but I'm happy that I get to have it nonetheless. Yeah, so I'm excited to get that sometime today, as well as my EFIS fucking Blu-ray that I pre-ordered like months ago. That's supposed to come today. So I'll give that to you next weekend, so you can probably watch that.
Yeah, great. Yeah, this week we have a lot of big releases coming out on July 8th. We have Sinners. That's the big one. I do want to get that. I like that Steelbook. I think you pre-ordered that, right?
That's supposed to come tomorrow. I'm hoping it comes tomorrow.
Yeah, so I do want to maybe try and find that. I don't know if it's still available or not, but that one I'm excited for. The Amateur, Until Dawn, The Legend of Ochi has the A24 release coming out. Hell of a Summer, The Rule of Jenny Penn, which I actually really want to check out. I've heard pretty
awesome
solid things about that. Yeah, kind of a smaller, like, Shudder movie, I think. Shadow Force, and then Fallout Season 1 is coming out, which I love that season. That's one of my favorite seasons of TV in the past few years. I think
is there a steelbook of that?
I think there is, yeah. It's like a 4K steelbook, so I cannot wait for Season 2. And then a couple older titles. We have the Barry Lyndon 4K coming out on Criterion, and then the 30th anniversary 4K of Clueless, which I have not seen Clueless.
It's fine. I don't love it. Like, I feel like Mean Girls is, like, in that same echelon of, like, high school kind of movie, at least for, like, more recent generations. Clueless never really clicked with me. I think it's fine, but Mean Girls and, like, Pitch Perfect also past that has really kind of encapsulated, like, my high school experience, and that's kind of, those are the movies that I go to, but Clueless is fine. That Barry Lyndon 4K, I haven't seen Barry Lyndon.
I haven't either.
Made by my favorite director of all time, so I need to definitely check it out, because that's, a lot of people kind of see that as being one of Stanley Kubrick's masterpieces, so I'm like, I'm missing out. Still haven't checked out Fallout. That's not one of, like, if, it's more of a matter of when I eventually watch that show, so I'm really excited to check that out. I'm happy that it's getting a good release. But yeah, The Rule of Jenny Penn, that's another kind of, like, somewhat under the radar horror movie that I heard a lot about when it came out in theaters, and I just missed out on. Moving into movie news this past week, we had a number of awesome trailers. I feel like every week we do a bit of a trailer roundup. This one has some trailers for movies that I'm so eagerly anticipating, and all three of them. The Odyssey, which was a small kind of tease that we got mostly in theaters, but it did leak, I think, also online. It's a lot of conversation between Tom Holland and John Bernthal in the film, discussing the kind of prolific nature of Odysseus and what he's able to achieve, and Tom Holland being like, where's my dad? How do I find him? Like, what's going on? I need to find him. And John Bernthal like, oh yeah, I know Odysseus, this man that's, like, basically unkillable. He can fight the gods. Like, it does a good job of being an announcement trailer for this movie, and I can't fucking wait for the Odyssey, because it's one of my favorite things I've ever read. I read it in college, and Nolan handling the Odyssey is something that is just a SNL joke. Like, that is too perfect to be actually real. So I can't wait for that. Project Hail Mary, we got a great trailer, and that movie is immediately rocketing towards the tops of, like, my most anticipated films of the next couple of years. And we also got The Running Man from director Edgar Wright, who is one of the most energetic, fast-paced, best-edited filmmakers in the 21st century. And we got a new Glenn Powell action vehicle that seems more in line with the original source material. So I'm really excited for all three of these movies. Corey, what do you think about all three of these trailers?
Yeah, I haven't seen the Arnold Running Man, but I'm, as you could expect, I'm going to watch that before. I know it's not like a direct, it's more off like the book that the new one is going off of, but excited to check that one out. The Project Hail Mary, we talked about the poster last week, looks really cool. Yeah. Trailer also looks great.
The trailer does, towards the end, I haven't read the book. I know a lot of people that have, and people that have reacted to the trailer online have been a little kind of trepidatious about what all they reveal in that trailer. And as someone who hasn't read the book, obviously I'm just excited by all of it, but people that have read it have been like, oh, don't show that right now, leave it. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Lord Miller being attached is exciting, and Ryan Gosling being in the lead is great. And Sandra Hüller being in the movie, too. I love her from
Anatomy of a Fall.
Zone of Interest as well. Like, she had a great year, so, like...
Gangbusters.
Glad to see her kind of popping up in some bigger stuff. And then, the Odyssey, I saw a leaked version of it online before, and then saw Jurassic World Rebirth yesterday.
Got to see it.
And I was like, getting excited for a trailer before a movie is a special thing, too, where you're like, it's going to play, and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see it. And I think it's exactly what a teaser should do. It's like, just little glimpses. It looks so good. Shot entirely on IMAX cameras, which is going to be insane.
It's going to be a treat.
Oh, I can't wait for that movie, so I'm very, very pumped for that.
So I saw Jurassic World Rebirth at AMC, which we've harped on AMC for having way too many trailers, way too much of, like, a build-up of 30 minutes of ads and shit before the actual movie. AMC did all the trailers. It was 28 minutes. Did the Coke ad, did all the fucking AMC ads, 30 minutes. Goes black, I'm like, finally the movie's starting. The green screen for all the trailers that pops up, the accompany feature rating, whatever. And I'm like, oh my god, another fucking trailer. And I completely forgot it was the Odyssey. And then it was the Odyssey trailer. And I was like, you could hear it in the theater of everyone being like, oh, fuck. Like, oh, this looks sick. So to win me over at a time when I'm most pissed off, sitting at an AMC theater waiting for the actual movie to start, and then you show me that trailer, I'm like, you know what? Edges are all smoothed out. It's all fine. I
see that Christopher Nolan font.
Yeah, that very specific Christopher Nolan font.
So if you're seeing Jurassic World Rebirth, I was in the same thing where I was like waiting, and they showed all the kind of normal trailers. They showed the couple ads of Coke or whatever. And I was like, are they not going to show the trailer right now? But it shows right before the movie starts. So if you're worried about it... Yeah, so don't worry. You'll see it before Jurassic World. It's really, really cool to see in theaters. And a little bit of sad news from this week. We had a couple Hollywood legends die. We had Michael Madsen and Julian McMahon pass away this week. Michael Madsen, probably best known for his team-ups with Tarantino. Reservoir Dogs, probably his best-known role as Mr. Blonde. The ear sequence with Steelers wheel playing in the background. What a very underrated actor, I think. I mean, aside from the Tarantino movies, he was in War Games, Die Another Day, which, not a great Bond movie, but he's, I think, good in that movie. He's in The Doors, Wyatt Earp, Donnie Brasco, which is a very underrated mob movie. And then Sin City, Species, Free Willy. Like, there's so many different genres that he hopped into and he was great in. And I love Michael Madsen. It was always awesome to see him pop up, especially Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, in Bounty Law. Just a quick little thing as like the sheriff in that like fake show within this movie. So definitely a sad passing there. And then Julian McMahon, who probably best known for being Doctor Doom in the Fantastic Four movies from Tim Story. I mean, you know, the movies themselves are very nostalgic for us. Maybe not like the best.
No.
You know, it's sad, you know, coming a couple weeks before Fantastic Four, just kind of a weird thing. But he was always memorable in those movies. And he was also in the show Nip Tuck, which I didn't watch, but I've heard a lot of people really like. I just haven't checked it out. So two people that are a little bit more underrated, and maybe they weren't the biggest names, but added a lot to any project that they were in.
Yeah, Michael Madsen was one that was surprising just because both of these men were relatively young. Michael Madsen, I believe, was in his late 60s when he passed this past weekend. And obviously, kind of what you already talked about of just you link him to Quentin Tarantino, him as Mr. Blonde, or in The Hateful Eight, which is one of the ones that I kind of am more in line with and I really enjoyed him in. But it is sad to hear two phenomenal actors both passing in the same week, also both being of relatively like young age. 67 isn't a full life to me. Like it's crazy hearing people like this pass away at any point in their like kind of latter half of their life, but it's still like too soon. I love Michael Madsen, and I'm always going to think of a lot of like his connection to Quentin Tarantino, but he's in Sin City, and I love Sin City, and he was also great in Donnie Brasco, so he's just someone that's always kind of been around for me. It's an actor that I feel like maybe didn't always get his due in terms of being a leading man, but he was always such a great character actor and being such a great actor within an ensemble. And when he was in any ensemble, he's usually the one that people are walking away being like, holy shit, he was awesome in this movie. So it's really sad to hear about Michael Madsen, obviously. And then Julian McMahon, who, you mentioned it as well. We grew up in the early 2000s. We had those Fantastic Four movies, which when I was 5, those movies fucking hit.
Oh, yeah.
Like, those movies were never bad until I started getting older and being like, oh, okay. Like, the nostalgia's kind of worn off. But Doctor Doom has always been kind of synonymous for me with Julian McMahon, and so it's interesting kind of going into where we are, at least within the MCU, of introducing Doctor Doom, and now it's like, oh, well, we're losing not necessarily the original Doctor Doom, but the person that I'm most linked to the character. So it is kind of sad, bittersweet news, and I believe he was also in his late 50s, so someone who I think also is way too young to have lived a full life. So I also have heard phenomenal things about Nip Tuck. It's a show that I've never checked out. I am bad at watching shows, but I've heard nothing but great things, especially about him within that show. So, two really sad passings. It's always kind of bittersweet when you talk about the passings of actors and people that are really like kind of close to us, even though we don't know them. It's just people that we get to exist within watching them on screen and stuff. So, Yeah, it's sad news, but they leave behind awesome filmographies and credits that we can kind of revisit whenever we need to. I already can think about like, all right, Reservoir Dogs is one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. I'm probably gonna have to go back and rewatch that now just to see Mr. Blonde cut that policeman's ear off.
Him
again.
Talking into the ear after he's cut it off
can
is,
you hear me?
and that's like I've watched interviews with him where he's like, that wasn't like in the script. I just kind of like did it.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Love
it. It's sad when we lose geniuses like this, especially when they're, I feel like, again, not at the time in their life when we'd expect to lose them. So, in other news, we did have a exit from a upcoming HBO show. The show being The Last of Us, a show that me and Corey both have loved for the first 2 seasons. Co-creator of the video games, Neil Druckmann, has announced that he will be exiting the HBO show ahead of season 3, which I feel like already is starting to sound the alarms of those people who are already kind of checked out from the show, or those who do not think Bella Ramsey can lead this show. As a fan of the TV show and a fan of the first 2 games, I think the show is still within its like okay bearings. It has Craig Mazin still attached. I have confidence in the show. I like what we've gotten so far. Neil Druckmann has announced that I think it was mostly due to other commitments to video games that he's looking to work on with Naughty Dog, that he's like, you know what, my time is needed elsewhere, so I can't really be as hands-on with Last of Us Part 3, or Last of Us Season 3, I should say. And to me, I think that that's fine. Am I a little worried? Yeah, it kind of makes me a little sad that he's not going to be there for season 3, but I don't think that that's going to mean season 3 is going to be the worst for it. I think Craig Mazin is more than capable of handling the show, and I have liked where the show has gone so far, so I am still optimistic about what we have in season 3, as well as the story that still needs to unfold.
Yeah, I think it helps that we have, or at least they have, the template from the second game to kind of go off of. Yeah, I would like if Neil Druckmann was still around, because that's his baby, that's his, he's been shepherding this throughout the process, but I mean, Craig Mazin has done great stuff aside from Last of Us 2.
Chernobyl.
So yeah, Chernobyl's my favorite limited series of all time.
Fantastic.
So he definitely has the talent there to keep this going. I'm still excited for season 3. And we talked about Superman earlier, coming out this week. There was kind of a late-minute casting news with Bradley Cooper being announced to play Jor-El.
I feel really bad because Corey didn't know about until I put it in the show notes.
I didn't know, but he's also probably not going to be in the movie all that much. No. I'm assuming whether it's a flashback or the beginning of the movie or some sort of little sequence that Bradley Cooper's in. But keeping up that partnership with James Gunn from the Guardians films. So I'm excited for that. There's not like too much else to talk about. Like it's just a cool piece of casting.
He's joining the echelon of Marlon Brando and Russell Crowe of playing Jor-El. I don't remember if anyone played Jor-El in really like Superman Returns era. Actually, no. Didn't they reuse Marlon Brando? Maybe even. But
I don't remember. Yeah.
I can't remember specifically. But when I think Jor-El, I think Marlon Brando and Russell Crowe. So to think Bradley Cooper is now joining that kind of prestigious group within that role, and like you said, I don't think he's gonna be in this movie a whole lot, but it's cool to see Bradley Cooper, who is one of my favorite actors, just pop up in a franchise movie that I'm stoked about. Moving into something that's kind of been talked about lightly. I don't know if there's really 100% of confirmation on a sequel is in the works, but with the success that F1 has brought, there are potential sequel plans for the film being discussed at Apple. A interview kind of that springs to mind is one of Joseph Kosinski talking about, and you kind of also saw it on the press tour of F1 and the premiere of F1, where Tom Cruise was everywhere with Brad Pitt. He's not in the movie, but he was everywhere with Brad Pitt. So it's like, well, what the fuck does that mean? Like, is he just being like a Boy Scout for cinema and supporting everything, or like, what's going on here? Could he be Cole Trickle? Could Cole Trickle pop up in an F1 sequel, which I would be all thrilled about? And basically, this story is the reason why I sought out Days of Thunder so actively and made sure I watched it this 4th of July. But there is potential sequels being talked about for F1. I would be more than happy to revisit Brad Pitt's Sonny Hayes in another racing story, even if it's not directly tied to F1 racing. If it was just racing in general, I'm sold. Especially with Joseph Kosinski behind the camera. If he's coming on for a sequel, and you can maybe get Tom Cruise back for a little Cole Trickle. Maybe Cole Trickle was the reason that Sonny Hayes had that accident back in the 80s or whatever it was. I'd be sold on that. So I'm stoked. if they announce a sequel, I am there opening day because this movie was such a blast to see this past summer, so I can't wait for anything that could potentially develop from this.
Apple is going crazy that one of their movies actually worked.
Yeah, like, we made money, guys!
After Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon and Argyle came out, and then they're like on Apple TV Plus a couple months later, and they're all lost money, a lot of money. It's great to see F1 doing good, and I think that I agree. I think I'd be down for a sequel, and also agree that I would love to see it branch out of just like Formula One racing. If it was like a dune buggy racing, like at the end of this movie,
where it leaves us off in the movie,
or like a different form of racing, like throughout the movie, we see different chunks. Like,
honestly,
cool.
Have him go back to NASCAR. Have Sonny Hayes join NASCAR, like, and just do a Days of Thunder sequel via F1, and I'd be sold. Yeah. I'd love that.
Yeah, I think we've kind of hit the Formula One part in this movie. I don't really know like what else we can do that's like, oh, that's so different and crazy. Yeah. Different form of racing, I think could be fun. And the last little bit of movie news is Fast and Furious 11, which
Vin Diesel got on stage to announce a bunch of shit.
Yeah, Vin Diesel, he loves this franchise. Another person that loves this franchise is Ludacris, and yesterday I had the honor.
I was wondering when you were going to bring this up, but this makes sense.
I had the honor of seeing Ludacris live. He was in Minneapolis. There's an event called Taste of Minnesota. There's a bunch of food trucks and performers and stuff. And Ludacris was there. My buddy got VIP tickets, and he's like, "You want to come with me to this for free?" And I was like, "Sure, fuck it, yeah." Ludacris was there. You, amongst a lot of other people, have told me I look like Ludacris, the white version of him. I've never seen it. I get told a different part. People are like, no, it's the eyes. No, it's the nose. No, it's the smile. Nobody gives me a straight answer of what it is.
It is the eyes and the nose. Okay. I swear to God, if you were there yesterday seeing Ludacris and you just held up a sign and being like, I am the white version of you, he would have pulled you on stage and be like, this is me.
Probably.
I would have shit my pants. That made me so happy when I saw that you saw Ludacris yesterday.
He was having a great time. Like, some concerts you can tell they're like, they're there for the money. They're whatever. Yeah. And like, that's a part of it, obviously. But he seemed like he was having fun. He was good, like, crowd work, and just like him and his DJ were having good banter. It was a fun concert. He sang a song from Too Fast, Too Furious, Act a Fool. Incredible. So, he was like, any diehard Fast and Furious fans out there? I'm like, yeah! Me!
The one guy!
So that was really fun, and he'll be in Fast and Furious 11.
It's the one movie he regularly gets work in.
Yeah,
franchise.
Which great. He's always, even if the movies are ass like F9 or something, he's still fun.
The interplay between him and Tyrese Gibson always works for me, no matter what.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
But another person that's supposedly in Fast 11 is Paul Walker's Brian O'Connor. You may remember that Paul Walker is not alive anymore. He died during the filming of Furious 7, and they sort of did like I think it was end of F9 when like Brian's car pulled up in the driveway. And
that's F7. That's Furious 7.
Oh, is that 7? I thought there was something at 9.
Oh, F9, I thought you were talking about like the Wiz Khalifa, like, When I See You Again, that's Furious 7, but like F9, you see his car pull back.
You don't see like a body or anything, it's just like his car pull up. I don't know the extent of what this means, if it's something like that, or if it's like actually him, if it's one of his brothers playing him. We don't need that. Brian O'Connor died as a character, or is
as a person. Paul Walker passed, and we are willing to accept that this character had to be written out because of such, and that's fine. Actually, preferred, don't bring him back. But also, you know what? Fine, you want to bring him back. I think that they've done a good enough job of towing the line and tiptoeing around the fact that Paul Walker is gone, sadly. If you think you need to bring him back for like absolute. Like, this is the end all be all you need to, which, like, if this is the end of the franchise, then maybe I could kind of give credence to that idea of, like, we should have Brian O'Connor's character within this. I don't want a digital recreated Paul Walker. That would be so offensive, especially this late in the game. I think if you need to have Brian O'Connor's character, you either recast him or you have his brothers who were like the stand-in for the mocap to finish out Furious 7. You have one of his brothers come in and finish out that role. You don't digitally recreate. We don't need Tarkin. We don't need Jeff Bridges in Tron Legacy. It would be offensive if they did that in that manner. I feel like, especially this late in the game. It's been, what? How long ago did Furious 7 come out? At least 5 years.
10 years.
8 years.
I think it was like 2015.
Yeah, it would be such a long-running mistake for them to be like, you know what, now we can do it. It'd be offensive, and I don't give a shit about like, oh no, we got permission from the estate, or Paul Walker's family signed off on this. It's going to be so murky in terms of whether, like, you thought that you could, but you didn't think if you should. Like, it's just you've done so much to toe the line between what we can do with that character to bring him back as Brian O'Connor as Paul Walker would be, I think, offensive.
Yeah, I think they actually did a decent job in Furious 7 of sending off that character.
It was a great song.
And it's with the song playing, like you said, of them going, it's like, is it kind of cheesy? Yeah, but I think for this franchise it worked of being like, you know what, we'll send him off in a great way. And they've referenced it enough where like he's doing other things or like taking care of kids or like whatever it is. So I'm like,
he's established he's not a part of this life anymore.
Yeah, like, and fine. I think that actually, if he was still alive and they did that and they're like, he doesn't want to be a part of this, he wants to take care of his kids and his family, I think that would still work in a way. So I think it's fine if he's not a part of this. I'm curious to see. Also curious to see what this movie's going to be called, because we've done every combination of like just Fast, just Furious, Fast and Furious, The Fast and the Furious,
Too Fast, Too Furious,
the Fast and Furious story or whatever the Hobbs and Shaw was called. Fast Saga, yeah.
F9.
Fate of the So Flevin? Do we do Flevin?
Yeah,
I don't know. They should have done like Fast 10 your seatbelts or something, maybe, perhaps.
They could have played with that more.
Yeah.
I still, like, it's so weird that this movie hasn't came out yet, even though we've been on like the cliffhanger of Fast 10 for so long. I'm like, how have we not gotten the 11th chapter?
Yeah.
And also that this is like the first acknowledgement of like, hey, we're working on F11.
Now?
I said there's 3 things. I forget what the other 2 things that he said needed to be a part. Oh, one was to bring it back to like the street level racing. It's like, yeah, you realize that every other thing that you guys are doing is just absolutely ridiculous and stupid. But also, we need to bring back Paul Walker, Brian O'Connor. I'm like, whoa, okay. But
interesting.
I'm excited for this franchise to happen and end. As someone who thinks that it peaked at F5, I really like F6. Furious 7's good. Fate is fine. F9 is dog shit.
10's better.
10 was better than
Hobbs
F9.
and Shaw's pretty good, actually.
Hobbs and Shaw's great.
Yeah.
But I don't need too many more of these movies, and it can wrap up. Just please do it in a respectful way of Paul Walker and his legacy within this franchise, please. Which I don't doubt Vin Diesel doing as someone who says he's a friend of Paul Walker, but just still, please be respectful. We did a good send-off. We don't need to dampen that or worsen that in any way.
Yep.
But regardless, thank you for sitting and having some liquor drinks with us. I need to piss like a racehorse, and I've needed to pee for the past hour. So we're gonna be fighting over the toilet after this. This has been nope. This has been another episode of Slate Night, the Film Fan Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok for more in-depth movie reviews and news, and subscribe to our podcast. In the world of film, it's not just about what happens on screen, but also about who's sitting next to you in the theater.
For Mason and I at Slate Night, that's a wrap.